Of these two arpeggio lines, which one do you prefer? So both of those arpeggios sounded fine, and they were doing their job. They were outlining the chord changes underneath them. So first, let's look at the chord changes. We have E minor, D, and C. And then it climbs back up. C, D, E minor. And then it's going to go back down again. E minor, D, but this time a G. And then a G, D, E minor. So the first arpeggio, we were playing more traditional arpeggios, if you will. We were playing the root, the third, and the fifth of the chord. So for E minor, those notes are going to be E, G, and B. Or a root, a minor third, and a fifth. For D, we played D, F sharp, A, or the root, the major third, and the fifth. For C, the same thing, C, E, G, so it's the same shape, the root, major third, and the fifth. And then we climbed back up. C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B. And now we're going to play slightly different arpeggios, climbing up in the progression. So we're going to start again with E minor. Same shape as before. Now, for the D chord, we're going to do a first inversion. We're going to put the F sharp in the bass. So a first inversion, all that means is instead of the root, we're going to put the third, F sharp, A, D. So the F sharp now is the bass note. And when it goes to the G chord, we're going to play a G arpeggio here. Root, third, fifth. G, B, D. And there's nothing wrong with those arpeggios. They sound fine, but they can be a little bit predictable. So the second time around, those arpeggios I played slightly differently. And they came right out of the bar shapes that I showed earlier for the chords. And all I played there, though, was the root, but now the fifth. And I put the third on top, on the high B string. So we have E, B, G, instead of E, G, B. So E, B, and G. Or the root, the fifth, and the minor third. And again, that's coming out of this shape. So we went down to the D. We did the same thing. The root, the fifth, and now the third on top, the F sharp, on the B string. Same thing for the C. C, G, E. Or the root, the fifth, and the third. And climbing up, we just repeated that. Now when we started to ascend, we're going to do the same E minor. So the E, B, G, or the root, fifth, third. And we're going to still use a first inversion of the D chord, but we're going to do the third root now, and the fifth on top. So it's F sharp, D, and A, which sets us up really nice for the G, which is just G, D, and B. Or the root, the fifth, and the third. This same shape that we did for the D and the C. So altogether, the first one sounds fine, right? But it is a little bit predictable. Whereas the second one has just a little more spice to it. Especially when you're ascending. That inversion leading to the G just has a real intervallic type of sound, very melodic sounding. So next time you come across a nice chord progression that you can outline with arpeggios, experiment with these two different types of arpeggios and see which one you prefer for that song.